What do you like?
Well, I thought we were in, I give my Damon Davis, our strength and conditioning coach, and our trainer, Clark Pearson, a lot of credit. We were in good enough condition to be able to play 3 games in 3 days. We trained really hard this summer and this fall with back-to-back-to-backs at times, talking about the fact that, and our big stress was, look, we got to go in at least 2 games. And I know I said that to you guys 2 weeks before the tournament. You may have stopped and said, not even exactly sure what you're talking about. What does that exactly mean? Because whether we won the first one or the last one, it didn't matter. We had to win 2 games to have a successful trip. And it didn't matter who we were playing against. So I had that planted in our guys' minds. And it was funny because I was listening to Seth Greenberg on set talking to one of his hosts. And the host could not get over that whether we were playing in the 3rd place game, for example. We weren't playing in the 3rd place game, maybe we were physically. We were playing against Arizona on a neutral site. You talk about an opportunity to get a win over a Pac-12 contender on a neutral site, what that's going to mean for our RPI, our tournament resume. Whether we finished 3rd, 4th, or 5th didn't matter. It's just not a. So really preparing the guys for 3 games in 3 days. They showed the physical and mental toughness and the conditioning to be able to play that way. I thought we played hard all 3 games. I didn't think we played well at all against Duke. Duke had a lot to do with that. But I was really disappointed in how we played. I thought we made a lot of really bad decisions. We took a lot of quick shots. We didn't execute. And as a result, didn't take advantage of the opportunity to make something special happen, like beat the #1 team in the country. We didn't deserve it. That's coaching. I did not have them playing as well as they could have played in order to beat that team. I thought we played pretty well against Xavier and Arizona. I thought we played great against Arizona. I was really glad to see the bench come off and play well against Arizona. That was key. The fact that Javon and Malik and Horace and Austin had such good performances against Arizona, and particularly the backcourt. We really needed Javon and Malik to play well, and they both had terrific games. For us to be a great team, that needs to continue. It was good to get Austin 3 games in a row, and he showed no signs of any kind of soreness other than normal soreness. So him to play 3 games in a row was great. You could see the presence that he gives us in there, rebounding-wise, offensively, what a target he is. And most of his rust is actually on the defensive end. And so we'll work for him to continue to become more effective defensively, more dominant. I thought that, and we played against different styles, and we were able to have to use a lot that was in the offensive and the defensive playbook, and there was enough there to be able to move forward.
After the first 2 games, you were critical of the way the bench played, and then, like you said, against Arizona, they turned over. What did you see those guys responding to that kind of?
I'm glad they responded. I was critical, and I'm just being honest. It's just what it is what it is. And I thought those guys took the challenge, stepped up, played with confidence, and Josh, it makes us a better team. And then the other thing too is that all those guys on the bench are really highly thought of on our team, all very well liked, all respected, could be starters in a lot of other programs. And there was a lot of guys that felt really good about some of those guys coming off and playing well. It helped our team chemistry.
Bruce, you talked about preseason defense, talked about what would they be like defense. What have you seen out of this team defensively, and what did you see out of them in Maui especially?
Well, I thought that we created a little bit of an identity for our defense. They're really good against Arizona. I mean, we weren't very good against Duke. We let Duke do the things that they do, and couldn't stop them. And as a result, they exposed us. And but I thought both against Xavier and against especially Arizona, the defense was really good. The effort was good. I think we're going to get better. I don't know what the results are going to be, but I know this team can really improve in a lot of areas.
The NCAA released its like first net rankings this morning, and I'm curious. And obviously they mentioned yeah, they measure I guess like point differential, margin of victory, stuff like that. And I'm not sure if that's something that's new this year. But do you look into that when you're coaching? Is that something that you think about, like margin of victory?
I haven't seen it yet. Mm-hmm. So where were we ranked?
16.
16.
But either way, just kind of, you know, that they take into account margin of victory. Is that something that, you know, you think about when you're coaching?
I don't care for the margin of victory thing as much because I don't want there to be any kind of formula that encourages you to run the score up or worry about whether or not I can put my bench in at the end of the game or not. But I don't think it'll affect, that's not going to affect what I do. We're going to play. When it's time to get the bench in, we'll get the bench in. If we win by fewer than what we're supposed to win by, you know, unless it becomes a situation where we're, you know, on the bubble and every point counts, I don't know. But I don't think the formula is too terribly different than what it was.
This is a little off the wall, you maybe not can really answer it, but obviously we know what you have in Jared and Bryce, but watching on TV, Coach K took the time to talk to Jared after the game for quite some time, and he seems to do that when he knows it's something special. And with all those NBA scouts that were there watching Jared, what do you think Jared did last week for himself and his future?
Well, I think what Jared did, what Bryce did, was, and you know, Chuma had his moments as well. Austin, you know, for them to get their eyes on him for the first time in a while. Got a chance to show what they're capable of, how they can, you know, compete at a higher level, and you know, with some good results, but also, you know, with some weaknesses exposed. And so, you know, Coach K, part of his, he probably had really never laid eyes on Jared, and so therefore he was impressed by some things he saw, whereas we're not as impressed because we lay eyes on him all the time. So I mean, I think that obviously those individuals, as well as our team, you know, established themselves at this point, anyways, as being guys to watch for, and our team is something to watch for, and we'll just see what we do as a team to take advantage of that opportunity, what those individuals do to take advantage of the position they've been put themselves in.
Your reaction to Bryce becoming Auburn's career three-point shooting leader and what he's meant to the program over 4 years?
Well, again, I'll go back to both Bryce, Jared. You know, I think coaches get way too much credit for things when they're good and probably a little bit too much blame when they're not. I mean, those guys are self-made players. Yes, it took Coach D and the strength and conditioning and our nutritionists and our trainers and my assistant coaches to spend time with them and their dads being in the gym with them. But it really took them having the discipline to get in there and work on their handling and work on their shots and to perfect their craft. And they're the ones that deserve all the credit. And I go back to, you know, where they were ranked as recruits, and they weren't highly ranked recruits. And it's not about we coached them up, it's about what they did. It's that they took advantage of the opportunity. And so Bryce is, you know, to be, you know, obviously Wesley Person was one of the all-time great shooters in college basketball as well as in the NBA. Great shooter. For Bryce to surpass him was very historical, and he's not done yet. He's got a long way to go. But Bryce defended for 3 straight games. He was the best on-ball defender in Maui. The best on-ball defender in Maui. And he rarely took possessions off. Now I get mad at Bryce when he does. But he didn't. For 3 straight games, I was really impressed with. He's an important piece to what we do.
I know we're on a little marathon here, but what do you know about St. Peter's and going into Wednesday?
You know, mostly Shaheen Holloway. The fact that he was, you know, a great player, and he was you know, a fixture at Seton Hall for all those years. A great story about a great player and a very good, loyal assistant coach, getting his opportunity to be head coach now, putting his hands on his own program, what that's going to mean for how they play. And, you know, they play fast, they're good in transition, they're real good in ball screen offense, and You know, so, you know, it'll be a, you know, another good, you know, opportunity for us. And obviously, St. Peter's is not as strong as the 3 teams we saw at Maui. So this is going to be as much about us and our growth and development, the different things that they're going to challenge us to do. I thought that was one thing that was pleasing to me, was Xavier, Duke, and Arizona all played 3 different kind of offenses, all had some different defensive things they threw at us, and we were able to handle it all. That was really positive.